Hey from BPHQ. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about peanut roller. If you don't know what one of these is, it's a fantastic little tool which is basically two lacrosse balls taped together. We make these because it costs a lot less to have one of these than to buy one where they're formatted out of foam or whatever else, so it doesn't make a difference, equally powerful. And the idea behind this is it's like a self mobility tool, mobilization tool, should we say, for the muscles that run on either side of your spine and for the vertebrae itself. So kind of from lower thoracic, so kind of above your lower back upwards, right up to your neck and your head. This little bad boy is very powerful because it helps to get into some of these deep areas in a similar fashion to how we would when we're treating people, and it allows you to really just get into some deep segments and look after yourself. So I'm going to show you some techniques with this. We're going to look at some advanced techniques. So obviously you can just roll on it in the same concept that you would with perhaps a foam roll or a lacrosse ball on different parts of your body. But a lacrosse ball on one side of your spine can be a little bit uncomfortable and possibly a little bit vulnerable for some people if they've got real joint segment stiffness and you start putting a lot of pressure on one side of that joint, it may not like it. So this is really safe because this is equal pressure, and then here is where the spine is processed. So the pointy bit of your spine, when you feel it, the bit sticking out sits there, and then the erector spinae muscles that run either side of your spine end up going on here, and so forth. And so I'm just going to show you a couple of things with this, dead easy. Let me just move this down so you can see, hopefully. Okay, so this is going to, in fact, I might turn you sideways because this is going to be a little challenge. Okay, so peanut roller, you're going to place your spine on this lower section here, middle section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab hold of it. I'm going to place it as high up my lower back as I can, and then I'm going to roll onto it like that. So from here, I'm going to wrap my arms around my body like a massive bear hug, and then from there, I'm just going to roll down the balls, so down the peanut roller, until I get to, just for example's sake, a part of my thoracic spine. Can you see that, hopefully? So, from here, advanced technique number 1. From this position, I can just ever so gently turn my body so I'm loading one side of the ball just a little bit more than the other. Keep your head up and in the flexed position. You want a little bit of flexion, a little turn, push either side, gentle twist, and then I might decide to try another segment, so I might come down a bit. From here, little twist. Only ever so subtle, but all you're doing is essentially applying a little bit of pressure one side of a joint segment and a little bit the other side, and you're just doing that. Just a little bit of mobility. If it needs to go, if it's a little bit stiff, you might even hear a little bit of a movement. That's fine. So that's the first one. So a little bit of movement there and there. That's number 1. Number 2, same position, but what I might decide to do is do flexion and extension over a particular segment. So from here, make sure you can see this. I think you can just about. From here, I might decide to hold on this point because it might feel a little bit tender, and I might then just come up and back to the floor. In. It's almost a little bit like a crunch, but that's not really the point. In. So I'm allowing myself to open up over the top of it. I can even let my head rest for a moment, that's fine. And then come up. So full flexion, full extension over a particular joint. It might go to another bit. Let's say there's a little bit tender. From here, all the way back, and all the way up. All the way back, and all the way up. And you do that 5 to 10 times on one particular area, and then you might move along. So depending on how it feels, whatever area is stiff, if you've got a stiff segment, you hold on there, work it a little bit, and perhaps side to side, a little bit of flexion, extension over the top, and then move on. Amazing for thoracic. You can do that really from above your lower spine upwards to just before the shoulder blades. That technique is not appropriate in the neck. There are techniques for the neck, but that's a whole other video. So between the shoulder blades, top of the shoulder blades, down the spine to just before the lower back. This is pretty effective with what I've just shown you, those 2 techniques. Peanut roller people. All right.